Welcome to the show. We dive into the pool of truth and vulnerability and questions from you guys, questions from the forum. And then we kick up off the bottom of that pool with a perspective, like where am I now, with a plan of what to do. Because the woman in your life does not want you to drown in that pool of vulnerability, right? She wants you to be able to navigate that and, put a snorkel on or put your scuba tank on if you need to, right? If you're diving deep. But then she wants you to be able to kick up off the bottom and resurface with a plan. So let's get into it. I want to say hi to Cynthia.
Thank you for having me. I truly appreciate being in this space.
Yeah, I love it. Fantastic. Let's move on to the content. So here's a post from the forum. This man says, so after he announced his divorce, I'm more relaxed and comfortable with myself, to be honest. I think I needed this in order to be able to move ahead consciously. No action from her side afterwards, besides suggesting we look into buying adjacent apartments together. Oh, that's a good idea. Let's buy adjacent apartments together.
That just gives her opportunity to keep eye on you and all that shit. No, that's a no-go, I mean, if I was him, I'd probably go all the way across town if that's the way she's kind of being, Yeah, no go.
I need to add that to my list of no-goes. Do not rent an apartment next to each other. Let's keep going. At first, this was an emotional hit for me, assuming she was sending me mixed signals. Then it became clear that this was her fear of moving ahead, speaking, and anxiety about the children. Sure. I spoke my truth that I do not want to add another commitment to our relationship, and that although I understand the need of practicality and living close by, doing that right next to each other is not what I want and look forward to. Good for you, guy, for standing up for yourself. Finally, I'm realizing I will miss her and want to enjoy any remaining time together, as crazy as that sounds. So here's a response from another man on the forum. Brother, you will always feel a void because at one time you loved her enough to marry her, protect her, and to have children with her. You're not the type of man, if you are here, that is just a baby dad. You have invested a lot of emotional energy to invest in someone. Think about it for a moment. Every time you look at her, you will recall all the good times, but then she will say or do something that will remind you why you are not together. Enjoy the time, brother, if that makes you happy. If it makes you happy, enjoy the time together, and for no one else. Maintain that attitude for your kids, then just enjoy life. I love how you guys support each other, and we've all been through these things, and whether you're facing divorce literally right now, or you're afraid of that, if she says she wants space and you want to know how to fix these problems, you're in the right place. You're in the right place. Like, we definitely love women. We're here to honor long-term relationship. That's what we're about. So let's go and jump into our staircase of courage question for today. What does this men's work, quote unquote, mean to you? What is this men's work? What does this work mean to you? We talked about this a bit on the show yesterday, so I'm going to read one example. He's been, a stalwart in this field, in this work for his own self. He was facing divorce, and they bounced back from that through this work. He realized how he was messing up, and he learned these skills, and he turned his entire relationship around from the brink of divorce. I met him a couple of years ago in person in Idaho at a retreat that we did at a get-together. He answered this question by saying, I've taken some time to write out what the work means to me. And I would say this, if and when asked by a man or a woman, it's about learning about men, women, sex, intimacy, relationships, affection, and real love. It's about learning about myself, my baggage, and how to deal with it. Learning about my values, my emotions, and the direction I'm heading. It's about learning how to be a more calm and confident man and less reactive to the things that trigger me. It's about learning how to take a stand for my deepest held values and making clear, confident decisions. And it's about realizing that no matter what, no matter how bad things feel in the moment, that I have the power to create an amazing life and I will be okay. So what does this work mean to you? Punch that into the chat. And another man posted this picture, I think this morning. It says, I meditate and I say fuck a lot. It's all about balance. That's right. It's all about balance in life. Exactly. So punch into the chat. We love you guys. All right, let's go ahead and jump into a question from the forum. And this is definitely the participation section. What would you do? I let my wife know that I reached out to family members, like fathers, to see about a hike or cookout and games on Sunday. This is a big first for me. My wife responded with, I wish you would have talked to me before inviting them. And I asked, why is that? And she said, because her stepbrother is probably confused because I invited him and a girlfriend and son over Saturday for a fire. Oh, so she made plans without telling you, and you're trying to make plans without telling her. Okay. All right. I didn't read this whole thing, so here we go. This is the first I've heard of those plans. I said, I didn't invite anyone yet. Okay, got it. Seeing who's up for what. Clearly, I didn't know you invited this guy and his crew over Saturday. Sounds fun. She says, okay, but people over 2 days in a row? Question mark. That's a lot. That's a lot for me. I will be off and need to get some cleaning and organization done. Maybe a hike is a better option. Here's where I'm looking for advice. I want to kindly and lovingly say it's Father's Day this weekend. So I want to kindly and lovingly say it's Father's Day, and I'm going to do what I want to do. Number one, the ego. I do what I want. I love how he's breaking this out. This man's been on the C-Note show for a long time, for months at this point, and is becoming more and more advanced in his work. I love it. The ego. I do what I want. I'm going to plan something I want to do and invite those I love along. You're welcome to be present if it's something at the house. Don't worry, I don't have any expectations of you to do anything for it. And I'll take care of the cleanup. Number two, the cop-out people pleaser. My dad is busy in the morning and his knees are bad, so he's not able to go on a hike. If everyone else is up for a hike, I'll do it. I'll do that and then just have my dad over for a cookout. Number three, so I want to ask you guys what your thoughts are here, because this, where he says the cop-out people pleaser, we could definitely talk if you think that what he just said is a cop-out and the people pleaser. Number three, empathy and support. I'm free Saturday to help out with anything in the morning and afternoon. How can I support through a busy weekend so we can have company and enjoy it? Question mark. And number four, love. This is an important day to me, and I'd like to spend it with those I care about. What do you need from me to be able to do that? I'm open to any suggestions on how to respond. Realistically, I may not even hear back from anyone. Could end up being a little hodgepodge. All right, gentlemen, what do you think? You had like the egoic, or, he says egoic, but it's basically, leading with what he wants and have no expectations of her. You're welcome to be present. The cop-out, empathy and support of what she said, or what he says is love. This is an important day to me, and I'd like to spend it with those I care about. What do you need from me to be able to do that? Jump in, unmute yourself.
I guess I've been in similar situations before. So I guess I would say that he needs to clarify what he wants, first of all, and maybe think about how he could put his needs out there without it sounding like he's being selfish. And he's trying to, see what his wife needs and also what he wants. But if it's Father's Day, he could say, it's Father's Day, I'd like to do this, and this is, how does that sound to you?
Yeah. So is this how you've handled it in the past?
No, I guess I've always thought, since I separated, it was like, how can I do something that pleases my wife kind of mentality, thinking that like meeting her needs will somehow change the dynamic. But it ends up being that I think she just thinks I'll do whatever she wants, and then she ends up losing respect for me, I feel.
Yeah. I think, I've certainly been there. I think a lot of us have been there, as far as I'll be nice. I'll try to appease as much as I can and then see what happens. And often it works against us, as it sounds like what you're saying.
Yes. Yeah. Especially if they know that it becomes habitual, and then they know, okay, he'll accommodate, or even, he'll accommodate what I've made a plan already. And so he'll fit around me, especially if she knows that in the relationship that you're wanting it, it's like the push-pull dynamic, he's wanting the relationship more than she is, or something. It's that dance that you do in a relationship. Yeah,
certainly that masculine and feminine dance. So do you mind giving us a quick minute on where, you are? How'd you find us, right? And where you are within, let's say, your own work or within relationship? We'd love for you to share.
Yes. How did I find you? I saw you the other day on the Good Guys to Great Men call.
Yeah, the live tribe call. Nice.
Yeah. And where am I? I've been separated for like 3 years. And my wife has recently filed for divorce. And I have I've been the nice guy, basically, to try and repair things. And we have a daughter that's 4 years old. And we currently live about 2 hours away from each other, but this summer I'm planning to move to the town that she lives in.
Gotcha. So where is there any relationship between the two of you? Are you dating?
Yeah. We're actually like fairly amicable. I can go there and she'll be like, oh, what do you want to eat for dinner? And like, we can, we all hang out as a three, but anything to do with like the two, then there's like a reluctance. So I don't push anything to do just the two of us. So it's usually like, if it involves our daughter, then there's usually like cooperation.
Gotcha. Can I ask you a question? Because one phase that you're in right now that guys are very curious about is sort of the phase of healing, if you will, to focus on your own self, your own work before potentially, dating again, or for potentially even reattracting, your ex. So what do you believe? What's your philosophy on this phase of life for your own self?
I guess, my philosophy is that I really need to figure out what it is that I, as a person, need and want, rather than thinking, oh, I need to meet the other person's needs. I need to fix a relationship. Because I think if you can work on yourself, ultimately that as a side product, your relationship gets better, because then people start respecting you, you start having boundaries and saying no, and you make it clear if you clarify your values, then it's easier for people to then, for your ex to respect you. And also you become clearer in yourself. I think if you look at always trying to fix what is wrong with the other person, then you're going about it like the wrong way.
Yeah. So relatedly, what are you excited about in your life? Like I call it turning your shoulders. You turn your shoulders toward what you're excited about in life. And the other way to turn your shoulders is toward a relationship, to focus on the present moment in the relationship. So it's like two philosophies that we talk about and that I teach. And so we're talking about turning your shoulders for yourself. What excites you about life for you right now?
I guess moving to the town where my wife and daughter primarily live, and being able to focus on work and being able to like really be present as a father. So I mean, those.
Okay, so with love, those don't sound like for you. Those sound like as a father and as a employee or businessman.
Right.
But what about for you and your personal life? So let's pretend your daughter and your daughter's mother like took a trip to Mars, and they're not here right now, right? They're going to be gone for, I think it takes 2 weeks or something. No, it takes more than 2 weeks. They're going to be on a 2-week trip to Mars, right?
In light years.
Yeah, exactly. So, with future technology, they're going to be gone for 2 weeks. They're on Mars. Okay. You can't do anything with them. You can't plan anything with them. You're not thinking about a future with them. You're thinking about yourself. So
right,
what would you be excited about for you to do?
I guess like conceptually, like just living a life that has like purpose, and I have some meaning to what I do on a day-to-day level. Is that too conceptual?
Yes, that's too conceptual. So feet on the ground, right? You got $10,000 to spend. I'm making it more specific to try to force you here.
Yes.
Okay, you got 2 weeks, $10,000 to spend. Don't tell me you're going to invest it into securities, because that's probably what I would do. But it's like Brewster's Millions, but you only got 10,000, not million. And you got to blow it. You got to spend it on yourself. What would you do with it? What would you have fun? How would you have fun?
Oh, right. Okay. All right. And what would I do? I'd probably fly somewhere and go to a concert to another country.
Nice. What country? What concert? What group?
Where would I go? I'd probably go to somewhere like sunny Southern Europe, to like a festival, or to a music festival, especially because summer coming up. So
yeah. So okay. Do you have a favorite kind of music? Like, what would you wear when you go to the festival?
I mean, what would I wear? I mean, probably just like cargo pants, a t-shirt or something, some sort of rock t-shirt. I've got quite an eclectic taste in music.
Oh, I see. Okay.
No, I'm quite boring. I'm like quite conservative in terms of dressing.
You're quite boring in terms of dressing.
Yeah, I'm conservative. I'm not like wild. I'm not wearing like anything crazy.
Why not?
Conditioning. Societal conditioning.
Okay. All right. We got to break that.
Yeah. I mean, actually, when I do wear something, then people do like notice, oh, you're wearing a pink t-shirt.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah. Okay. So we're on a, all right. So what I want you to do for fun is I want you to Google search festivals in Southern Europe, right? And email me a weird outfit that you would literally take the challenge to wear, like a big gold medallion or something that says like pimp on it or something. It says I'm eclectic. You get my point. You get where I'm going here? Yeah. Because you have to have fire in your life for yourself. You have to be exciting for your own self so that a woman can feel excited about you. She has nothing to feel attracted to or re-attracted to if there is no man, if there is no you, if there is nothing about you for her to be attracted to.
No.
Right?
And I have spent a lot of time focusing my energy on my daughter. And even though I'm like an amazing father, for some reason, it doesn't do it for her, you know?
Your ex?
Yeah, it doesn't, you know, it's not
You're
like...
You're saying that facetiously, right?
No, I mean, I just mean it, genuinely. It's like, you know, it doesn't, you know, I guess to me, being an amazing parent is attractive to me, but, you know.
Sure, that's attractive to you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, dude, I've been there. I always wanted to be a dad. My son is 17 now. I love doing father stuff, all that kind of thing. But that's what you like in a woman. That's not necessarily right what a woman especially is turned on by sexually. Because so a woman has to respect you first to have the potential to be sexually attracted to you. And you have to have fire in your life as a man, in addition to her respecting you, for her to be sexually attracted to you. Right. So that's not to take anything away from you as a father. That's just a different part of your identity. That's like your father hat. That's not your sexy man, she wants me hat. Right.
Yes. Yeah.
So that sounds like the phase that you're working on right now for yourself as a man is Google festivals and think about some fun shit. Right. So you gotta have fire in your chest is where I'm going. I'd love to see something from like that.
No, thanks.
Yeah, buddy. Thanks for jumping in, man. Good to see you.
You too.
So I was just gonna tell him like I feel like my life's been moving really, really fast the past couple of weeks, and I can tell, you know, like I was exactly where you're at, you know, just 2.5, like 3 weeks ago. And if you really pay attention, you really, you know, take to heart everything that's being said, like it's amazing how much your confidence can boost, and in turn it really shows her the reason she married you, you know. And so one of the things that I've been reading, and I think it was actually in one of the books that you told us to do, just in the preface, it was saying that a woman doesn't want to inspire the fire in you 24/7. She wants to see that you have the fire that matches hers, and that's what attracts her to you. So, and you know, that's kind of the thing I've been trying to focus on in my relationship. And, you know, I won't say there aren't setbacks, and I won't say there aren't speed bumps that we hit, but if you really focus on reigniting that fire in yourself, it all comes to fruition one way or another.
I love it, man. Good to see you. Thanks for jumping in. Yeah, that fire in your own chest, we have to have that, right? We have to have that. Otherwise, she's not inspired. There's something for her to love. There's something for her to be attracted to. I love it. Yeah, Rob, coming in, please. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, on that post, you know, somewhere I also believe a boundary needs to be set at the beginning of that post. How he talked, I came to her with some ideas for plans I had, and then, you know, it was like, how dare you, you know, because I have plans already. You know, I think there needs to be some boundaries set around communication, because otherwise, if he didn't bring this forward to her, her plans were going to be a total surprise and shock to him, because he was never informed. You know, there should be some kind of a communication there. You both live in the same house, and I have that communication in my home. You know, whenever I'm going to have somebody over, or she's going to have somebody over, we discuss it first. You know, do you have plans that day? Because I was thinking about having so-and-so over. So I think there needs to be some boundaries set around communication in the home. Definitely.
Yeah, that's a great point. I appreciate that for jumping back to the post, Rob. That's great. And by the way, for those of you that don't know, Cynthia and I lead Great Men Move Mountains. She's the only woman allowed on this channel for her professional and feminine perspective. And Rob Piotrowski, Jason Bradbury, and Andy Malloy are our coaches within Great Men Move Mountains. So Rob, thanks for jumping in. Rob, give us a few more sentences at least, you know, give us a minute about what you would suggest around boundaries with communication, right? And because these big words, boundaries, communication, I mean, those are gigantic words that people might assume different things, right? So how would you kind of have that conversation? What would you say?
Yeah, you definitely want to make it about yourself. not about the other person. You don't want to be blaming the other person. Well, you did this, you did that, so you want to express about yourself, how you're feeling. I felt like I was left out of the loop, and it's not okay with me that I live here also. And I want to know what's going on in our home when people are coming over, so I can, I can rearrange my schedule if needed. You want to make it about you, because it is about you. What's okay with you and what's not okay with you. It's not a blame game. Because, what if he wanted to have his company over on Father's Day on Saturday when she had already planned and not discussed it? That would have been probably a bigger issue then. It would have been probably a little fight back and forth of who's going to have who over that day, So definitely you want to make it about you. What's okay with you, what's not okay with you. And if things aren't being discussed with you in your own home, with things that are going on in your home, then definitely bring it up.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. And this gentleman posted in the chat, and I was thinking what he posted too. Come on in, please.
I would do what he wants, because anything else smacks to me of trying to be nice guy and please everybody. And she's welcome on the journey. If she chooses to do what she wants, that's fine. But everything else to me seems to go, I'll try and keep her happy as well, which is maybe a nice guy thing to me.
Yeah, I hear you. And I agree, right? I agree. And then there's the, well, should I be inviting her? How do I talk about this? What would you say about that, right? Because this man might say, well, I'm trying to keep some type of, relationship, or I want to see if she's going to join me. What would you say to all that?
I think he should express his needs and pause and wait for her response. So then he's defining what he wants, and he's not trying to people please or to please her. This is what I want to do. And then, because everything else is putting the decision on him, which is again, I want to try and fix this nice guy tendency. So I just go, this is what I'd like to do. I mean, it's his day, Father's Day. This is what I want to do. This is what nourishes me as a man. This is what I want out of it, and express it. I mean, be vulnerable in that moment maybe, and just see where it goes. If he's going to pander to her, then it's so we know it's not a shit test.
Yeah. So let me press pause. Let's pause on the shit test for a second. I totally hear what you're saying. And one thing that you just said that I want to highlight, that was beautiful. So I'm going to press pause on you for a minute. So one of them is being vulnerable. So like the x-axis is being vulnerable, right? And the y-axis is being honest. Okay. And that breaks the nice guy tendencies. Mark Manson talks about this in his book, Models of Attracting Women Through Honesty and Vulnerability. Right. So being vulnerable about what he wants and being honest about what he wants is where we want to be. And that like cures us of nice guy BS. Because if we hedge, well, I guess it's okay, honey. Right. Like if we're down here, we're not being vulnerable and we're not being honest. This is where the nice guy lives, down and trying to hedge and protect other people's feelings and blah, 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 and not being honest. Yeah. So in the chat, this man says, when I try boundaries, it feels like control. So I want to frame the boundaries to me. And I think Rob would agree with me. The boundaries to me feel like it's at their house. It's at the house. I mean, it's one thing if the kids are taken care of and, he wants to go hike or she wants to do something outside the house and lets him know and the kids are handled. But to make plans at the house where they both live and there's no communication about that feels like it could very easily step on each other's toes. Yeah, Rob is nodding. So the boundaries feel like around communication, the children, and the house, the physical space of the house. And then, point is, well, what do you want to do? And that's what I was talking about earlier too. And in this man's post right here, he says the ego, which I kind of think, I'm not sure if the inflection here is that the ego is a bad thing. I do what I want. I'm going to plan something I want to do and invite those I love along. You're welcome to be present if there's something at the house. If it's something at the house, don't worry. I don't have any expectations for you to do anything. I'll take care of it. So probably all the rest of this is a little bit too much explaining, but basically, he's going to invite who he wants and he's going to, make plans to do what he wants. He can also, by the way, have empathy and support of her. And he can also love her and hold her in high regard. And he can also think about his father, and maybe he's not going to go on a hike because of his father's knees. So it's, it seems like a mashup, a combination of these things. So Cynthia, in the chat, he says when he talks with his wife about boundaries, she says it feels like control. She says, you only want things your way, right? And he's wondering, like, am I even invited to a fire pit at my own house? Because she made plans without even telling him or inviting him on Saturday.
Yeah.
And whenever he tries to talk about these things and bring up boundaries, she, says he's being controlling and that you only want things your way, kind of shames him in that way.
Mm-hmm.
What else would you add to this conversation? Please come on in.
Yeah, I mean, when I first read this post, and I mean, Father's Day is a very important day. So part of me is kind of like that's so frustrating to not have your partner have honor and reverence for that day for you. So when a woman, the feminine does feel boundaries as control because it's such a different experience for her energy than for masculine energy. So it can feel rigid. It can feel like emotional cutoff. So it's always that kind of dance between the two of you. She'll always struggle with that, and you'll always need to practice that this is important. The secret key in that, and I know this man practices this with his wife, is the boundary for the feminine does not feel rigid, cut off, or controlling when there seems to be emotional resonance between the two of you. So that can be, she experiences your vulnerability and your honesty at the same time. So your vulnerability could be exactly what this man said. Hey, this is important to me, or I'm really excited to do this. And you might even amp up your emotional resonance with that because you're calling to the part of her to say, hey, let's, this is not about putting anything in a box. This is about like emotional experience. So that can make her feel an emotional resonance. And again, I know this man continually works on this with his wife, but when a woman says you always have to have it your way, that's a continual, he doesn't understand, all that I'm going through.
That's what she feels.
That's what she feels. And I know he's practicing that with her, but she feels like her world's not understood. And so it's always having to be the way that he's setting the pace. And that's totally not true, but that's her experience.
Sure. So that's her experience. I mean, part of my brain is thinking there's also bad behavior happening. And that's flared up by the fact that he didn't know, and I'm speaking about myself here too, he didn't know how to stand up for himself in the past. Yeah, come on in, please.
Hey, yeah, so I've had similar situations to this in the past too, where like, for example, my wife's work schedule changed. It's totally kind of blown up, longer shifts, early shifts. And, so she's kind of coming into the main bedroom where I sleep, stirring about in the closet, using the shower in that room, and wakes me up at 5 o'clock in the morning when I'm getting up later with the kids and stuff. So I kind of said, hey, can we move your clothes, switch bathrooms around? That way you're not, stirring about the room. And it becomes this pissing match of, no, I'm not going to do that, And
so I'll pause for a second. So in that, so for sake of time, that's a different topic, but let me just ask.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you believe, or what is going on with the bedrooms, and why are you asking her, like, how about just, hey, let's move your clothes into the other space. This isn't working. I want to move your clothes into the other space.
I guess trying to be nice about it. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, not.
I can go back to this, my amazing art that I did again, right? Like, yeah.
I don't want to literally take her clothes out and throw them in another room and make.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
No, I know. But she's expressed either before or after that how she feels she has no space in the house, like no space of her own, and that's kind of what I was offering. So it's confusing, but no, I was trying to kind of detach from that same situation. But
yeah, so I mean, this is definitely more for another time, because what happens is there's layers here. It's almost what feels like. They're not infinite, but it feels like infinite layers that happen. You're practicing being this man, and she has not seen this man for how long have you been together? How many years?
15, 16.
Okay. And so how many months have you felt like, a mountain lion, like Steve Forsman would say, where you're grounded and calm and standing up for yourself in a calm way? How many months?
Maybe 6 or so, like in a stronger, consistent manner.
Okay. So she was used to, 15 years prior to the current 6 months. And so that other stuff is coming out as you try to stand up for yourself. Right. So this is more than we can talk about today. Like, I would love to actually unfold this more tomorrow, but let's jump back to the question about Father's Day. What do you want? What do you want for Father's Day?
Well, I wanted to do something different, and honor all of the fathers in the family and have a little cookout or something like that. That's exactly what I wanted to do. And I was innocently approaching her.
Okay, pause. So, right, you're like, I wanted to do
All right.
fuck. Right. Okay. So let's try it again. What do you want for Father's Day? Low and slow, grounded, breathe. Tell me.
I wanted to honor the fathers in the family. That's it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Right. So, but I think Rob said this. Let's start with that. Right. Like, start with that and then hold tension. And she's going to come back with something else, I'm sure. But then you breathe and you speak low and slow the next sentence. Like, one sentence at a time. One sentence at a time. Right. Is there anything in your way from doing that? Is there anything in your way between expressing what you want or following through with what you want this weekend after what we've talked about on the show today?
I guess not, because she offered it out, but for me, it's feeling like she's telling me, what to do, the mother figure thing, and so I'm kind of revolting inside at no, I'll just take everyone on a hike because she said to do it.
I guess
and
maybe
was saying that I couldn't do what I wanted to do at the house.
Did she say you couldn't do what you wanted to do?
Well, that's what she was kind of saying with it's too many days, and so
there's a lot of assumptions going on, and there's a lot of her frame. Like, well, I guess that means she wants this. That's like all her frame guessing. Okay. It's like way too much guessing and way too much emotional flooding for you, it sounds like. So it's just grounded. It's back to, by the way, you can start it like this. Hey, I've been thinking about our conversation yesterday, and this is what I want to do on Sunday. You say one sentence and then you shut up. That doesn't mean, and you don't go like, this is what I want to do, take it or leave it, shove it, and then you walk away. It's, hey, I've been thinking about yesterday. It's important to me. Can we talk about it right now, or should we talk about it later?
That's where I kind of left it. I said, I'd like to talk about plans for this weekend. What time works for you?
Okay. Do you have a time?
What's a good time for you? I asked her that, and so she didn't come back with the time. But
okay, so today you say, hey, tonight at 5 o'clock or whatever, okay, I'd like to talk about this weekend. Does that time work for you?
Yeah.
No, that doesn't work for me. No, that doesn't work. Okay,
That's what's gonna happen.
Okay, so how about 5 minutes, 5 minutes before you go to bed, or 5 minutes after the kids go down, or I want to talk about it today. So what's the best time to talk about it today? Well, you're a controlling asshole to make it today. Hey, either we talk about it, or the communication is not going to be here. And I want the communication between the two of us. Again, talking about the relationship. I want to have communication with you. So what's going to be a good time in the next 24 hours? Okay. Let's assume that she's going to finally pick a time. Okay. Then you say, hey, awesome. Thanks. I've been thinking about this. Little tiny smile on your face, look away. But thinking about this, and what's really important to me is to honor the men and honor Father's Day. And so here's what I want to do. ... You say it and then you shut up. And then
I understand.
Go from there. Yeah.
My challenge is being overly concerned with making her feel heard. So I want her to feel heard. He thinks it's a lot to have people over twice in 2 days, and it's her weekend off because she worked all last weekend. Like, I'm trying to make her feel heard, but also get what I want. And it's kind of like the one time I want to get something I want, right?
Sure. So the key word there was overly, what you said. You just said, I'm overly concerned to make her feel heard. So you can make her feel heard. That doesn't mean she's going to like it. Okay. Doesn't mean she's going to praise you or pat you on the head, or, like say, okay, well, that's great. Let me give you a blowjob now. Like, it doesn't, none of that means you can make her feel, you just said it. Like, hey, I know you said you're busy and it's a long weekend. Totally cool. This is what I want on Sunday. And the theme is she's not usually happy with so that's, so you can't, there's no scoreboard. There's no, like, I failed if she's not happy, the way the trying to pander to her is only going to piss her off more. It only pisses off the feminine cave woman limbic brain when you pander to her. So, okay. Cool. So post in the forum again. All right. Post another thread if you want. I'd love it. Post again tonight or tomorrow. All right. Fantastic. All right. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and jump forward. Cynthia's sexcapade spot for today. Unleash her animal. Something's unleashed. Unleash her animal. Please take it away, Cynthia.
We were talking at the beginning of the call of, what gets to be the fire that you have in your chest as a man. And I wanted to offer today that sex, whether it's in the bedroom or you're just playing with your woman in the day-to-day, it doesn't have to be as serious as sometimes we think it is. And some tantric practices are specifically to kind of push the barriers a little bit of what might seem like, oh, this is like too funny or silly or weird to do, to kind of expand the staircase, the capacity of what you can do with your woman, what she can receive from you. And so I wanted to offer a practice today that's going to seem a little wild and nutty. It is a tantric practice, but then offer a way that you can do this in day-to-day life. So this is from a practitioner, and she calls this, how do you have start to pull in the energy of wild sex with your wife? Because there's sensual sex, there's rougher sex, there's wild sex, there's spiritual sex. And so she suggested to start by doing some chaotic breathing together. So we often talk about slow, deep breaths here, or breathing into the center of your column, but this is more like fire breath. It's lying down in the bed together and breathing fully, even wildly into your pelvis for a full 5 minutes. And it's even inviting, are there sounds that are going to come out? Are there grunts? Are there growls? It's really getting blood pumping and moving past feelings of vulnerability. And then the practice is, for a full 5 minutes, it's inviting you into kind of wrestling and playing around. You could call it animal mode. You could, bite her on the shoulder. She could claw you a little bit down your back. And again, this could sound silly, but sex isn't always meant to be serious. And laughter in some of the most vulnerable acts that we share with your woman is one of the ways that her trust can deepen, her own places where she's closed down can open. So you can use this energy playfully in sex together. And this practitioner says, if this feels too crazy or weird, just don't take it too seriously and have some fun. So whether this is in the bedroom or you are on the staircase of intimacy where you're just looking to create a connection, walking past her in the hallway, it can be like grabbing her for a quick hug and then R on her shoulder. It could be, holding her hand and then you just kind of on it like that. It can be coming up behind her and you just pull your fingers down her back and, growl, however it feels playful and fun and masculine to you. The other side of this is, women in tantric practice are invited to practice sounding and letting out this playful part of themselves. So that's the end goal. But really, it is bringing in it's almost like kid wrestling energy that is delightful and playful. And that can be an absolute turn on, if not break tension between the two of you and really invite a woman into her femininity, her sexuality, and her desire to connect with you.
Yeah, beautiful. Women want emotional range, right? So wherever you can bring some fun or emotional range or humor or a little sexuality, like the whole biting her hand, I think that's a great idea. I wrote that one down, Jen. I wrote that one down. That's a fantastic idea. I appreciate that. Yeah. You guys are phenomenal. So I love the sexcapades, give you some advanced things to consider or practice if you're in that spot in your relationship or something to look forward to. And then talking about, what you just said around, hey, it's just running your hands on her back or growling. What is that growling as a man do for a woman? What does that feel like in her body?
That's the same thing as the low and slow. In the growl, it's like when she gets to truly feel you. So it's something she gets to feel deeply inside of her, almost like the vibration of you. It's an instinctual pulling in her, but because it's so real and embodied and grounded in you, it just brings a sense of like warmth and trust.
Fantastic. Yeah. And if you guys don't know what the Staircase of Intimacy is, it's our 45-minute free audiobook. Go to our website, greatmenmovemountains.com/free audiobook, or just go to our website, greatmenmovemountains.com, and click on free stuff. And we have other free stuff as well. Cynthia, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You guys are fantastic. Thanks for being here.